The monarch butterfly makes a migration every year from North America to the Oyamel fir trees of Michoacan, Mexico. This story starts in Ontario, Canada, where a large group of butterflies is preparing for the trek south. Once they embark on their journey, they discover that they have run into a harsh, windy storm. They try hard to stay together, but one isn't able to keep up and blows in the direction of the wind, away from the other monarchs. When the monarch finally gets out of the wind, they discover that they are at a harbor and sees a boat. The monarch has landed in New York City. The monarch heard many languages, people, and saw huge skyscrapers. They land on a boat with the hope that it may bring them to Michoacan. Little did they know how far they would go from it. The monarch was on a boat for several days when it finally reached land, but it was not Michoacan. The monarch had sailed across the Atlantic and landed in Paris, France. The monarch was frightened. They noticed the sound of French speakers that surrounded them. They saw French architecture and the Eiffel Tower. They hadn't realized that places could look like this. But then something unexpected happened. They ran into a small group of monarchs. They expressed that they had left the migration long ago. They decided that there was more than just going from North America to Mexico and back. They wanted to see the world. Then the monarch realized that the winds gave them a chance to do something different. The monarch got on a train with a brand new perspective on the situation at hand. The monarch saw Europe's wide range of beautiful architectures, mountains, and rivers. They had no idea things could be so different. There was so much more in the world to see than just North America. The monarch got off the train with the sounds of the Turkish language flooding their ears. The monarch had reached Istanbul, Turkey. They saw large, magnificent mosques. They smelled kebab and baklava from the street vendors. Yet, the monarch couldn't help but feel a little lonely. They were thousands of miles from everyone they knew. They hadn't seen any other monarchs on the streets of Istanbul. They decided that they wanted to be back with everyone they knew, back in North America on their way to Michoacan. They chose to go back, but wanted to see just a little bit more of the world before leaving. They noticed an airport and got on a plane that they hoped would just take them to somewhere else they would want to see. The plane took off into the sky and headed for a new destination for the monarch to see. When the plane reached this destination, the monarch saw giant skyscrapers and beautiful mountains. The monarch was in Seoul, South Korea. They heard the Korean language going in and out of shops and up and down streets. The city slightly reminded the monarch of New York. Then the monarch remembered that just before, they were in a large group of monarchs migrating to Michoacan. The monarch got homesick for that group of monarchs that they had been away from for so long. They decided it was time to go back to Michoacan and hibernate with the rest of them. The monarch found a plane that was heading to Mexico and waited for it to arrive, pondering on the wonderful experience it had just had. The world faded as the plane rose over the clouds. The monarch was going home. The monarch got off the plane for the final time. They were in Mexico City. They heard the Spanish language around them. They smelled tostadas and quesadillas. They knew then that they were so close to being with the other monarchs. The monarch flew and flew until they started seeing more and more monarchs. Further out of the city, the monarch flew and flew until they saw it. The large group of monarchs in the Oyamel fir trees of Michoacan. They made it. Just as they were settling on a branch for hibernation, they reflected on their experience. They had seen so many places, heard so many languages, experienced so many different cultures. The monarch experienced the world. They were thankful the wind blew them off course because they wouldn't have thought that the world had so much to offer. The monarch slowly drifted off to sleep, wondering, where should they go next?